I went to New Zealand for a weekend trip and I couldn't help asking myself, why is the water so blue? Why is the salmon so good? Why can I see so many stars? Come along with me on my journey as I figure out the answers to these questions. It was such a beautiful sunny day when we got to the hotel, and we saw we had such an amazing view over Lake Tekapo. When we saw how incredible the sunset was, we couldn't help but just run out of the hotel and start to run towards the lake. There's a bridge here called McLaren Footbridge, and it gives you a beautiful vantage point over the lake. The lake is incredibly blue, and that's because of something that's called glacial flour, which comes down from the mountain tops. And these are silt particles that stay suspended in the water, reflecting all of the blue light while absorbing all of the red light, giving it this incredible turquoise colour. There's also a gorgeous little church here called the Church of the Good Shepherd, which is a pretty touristy attraction, but who can blame them? It's in a stunning location that overlooks Lake Tekapo. Last time I was here in South Island, I could not stop thinking about the salmon from this place. Mount Cook Alpine Salmon Shop is a little bit touristy, so it can get a bit packed, but the salmon is top notch. There are so many different salmon products here, but I was so excited to eat the raw salmon again. This time we got it with the salmon roe, the biscuits, and also the smoked salmon spread. And then we took one of the tables outside to admire the view while eating our salmon. Something that I feel like I should warn you about is that I have a knack for creating food abominations or masterpieces, depending on how you see things. I put the smoked salmon bread onto the salmon, picked it up with the fish roe as well, with a dollop of wasabi. When I tell you that my mouth is drooling while I'm thinking of this salmon again, I mean it. It's the perfect combination. The smoked salmon spread is a little bit smoky and creamy. The salmon is really fresh and clean tasting, and the roe provides little pops of salty flavour in your mouth. The salmon is incredible in New Zealand, and that's because they have their own breed of salmon called Aoraki salmon, which is really high in oil, which gives it a really amazing texture and has a lot of flavour and omega-3 content, which means it's still good for you as well. And then we were off to Mount Cook to see some glacial lakes. The scenery going into the mountains are stunning. Every few hundred meters there was someone stopped on the side of the road trying to take some photos or videos of the incredible view. And I have to admit, we did that a fair few times too. I really recommend adding at least 10 to 20 minutes onto your trip, depending on how long you want to take photos. Because we didn't have as much time as it was a weekend trip, we decided to do some of the shorter walks. The walk begins through some shrubbery, where you're initially protected a little bit more from the wind. We decided to do the Kia Point track, which was on the way to Mueller Hut, which is one of the more hardcore walks. Unexpectedly, it started snowing partway through, and I was so excited because it was my first time properly being in snow.
Even in my eye. Oh, you're right, it's everywhere. It's so cool. It landed in my eye.
The path can get a bit narrow and rocky, so you have to be really careful when you're going. And you should make sure you wear the right shoes for this. I also couldn't stop laughing because my boyfriend had worn shorts for this walk. I was still so excited throughout this walk, and I kept trying to stick my tongue out to catch the snowflakes.
Oh my god. Okay. I got on my tongue.
When we got to Kia Point, there was a nice platform that looked over the mountains, as well as a bench where you can rest your weary legs. I spent quite some time here because I was so excited about the snow. It was pretty cold, however, and lots of people started leaving. So after some quick snaps, we started to head back down ourselves. We also decided to try out the Tasman Glacier track because that was also another short walk, only being around half an hour return. While the Hooker Valley track is probably the most popular, the Tasman Glacier is a bit less crowded, which means the Tasman Glacier car park is pretty free.
Still really close.
The Tasman Glacier lookout point is a bit easier to get to, so it's also a really family-friendly walk to do as well. And on the way you can stop at the Blue Lakes, which today was green because it was mostly rainwater. There are a lot of steps to the Tasman Glacier walk, and I hate steps so much. But the view is so worth it from the top. It felt so surreal to see an elevated view of the mountains.
Oh wow.
There are also plenty of rocks to sit and just enjoy the beauty of the Tasman Glacier Lake. And if you need some rest when you get back, there's a building that contains a seating area. Even the ducks here are stunning as well.
Okay. Enjoy.
For dinner we went to Kohan, which is pretty highly rated in Lake Tekapo. It's connected to a gift shop which has a lot of clothes and gift items. So I got a beanie because I realised I couldn't just wear my scarf the whole time. The food here isn't amazing, but it's pretty good, and the salmon is also super fresh. We also got sake in a cute bottle, but I didn't really like the taste of this one. So we're headed to Tekapo Hot Springs, and I think I made a big mistake. It's fucking cold. And we're going to be sitting outside in, you know, a heated pool, but I think it's like -3 or something. -1, okay. -1, much better than -3, okay. Tekapo Springs probably does cater a lot for tourists, but as a result there are so many different activities that you can do here. And they also have an assortment of items and clothing products in case you forget anything.
Okay.
New Zealand is home to some of the most beautiful dark sky reserves. There's less light pollution there, which means that you can see the stars even more clearly in the sky. On this particular night, we did stargazing in the Tekapo Hot Springs. It was really fun to start off with a pop quiz so you could see who the space nerds were in the crowd. And I found it so funny that my boyfriend knew pretty much all of the answers. Then we went out into the cold night where, fortunately, they provided us blankets, and we proceeded to use telescopes to observe some of the stars that we had spoken about in the quiz. But I have to admit, after half an hour of standing out in the cold to look at the stars, it was really nice to bathe in the hot springs and stargaze from there. The reason why the red light is used is because it helps our eyes adjust better to night vision, which allows us to see more of the stars at night. For breakfast we went to one of the local cafes, the Greedy Cow. We had heard that their pies were really good. There were so many different flavours to choose from, and I liked the sound of the smoky boomer the most. They also had the cereus cookies that I've been wanting to try for a while, and the smoky boomer was a great choice.
That looks good.
The cheese literally oozed out of it as soon as I cut it. We also got the crockenberry thyme, which was a creamy chicken
as well. The pies are really good.
Because we had gotten a really good deal with Tekapo Springs, we decided to go back during the day so that we could see the mountains from the hot springs. And then we got distracted by the snow tube. It looked like so much fun. They also have other snow activities as well, like an ice rink. So we went back to reception and we booked an hour for the snow tube. They're pretty big on safety here, so they make sure that you wear a helmet, and then you'll grab a tube and go up the travelator, which also offers really cool views of the lake and mountain. I was the first to go on the snow tube, and I was so nervous. I did my best to film it, but this is my failed attempt. After a few goes though, I did successfully get some good videos. I think the best part of this experience was that literally everyone turned into a child while they were riding this.
That was so much fun.
And we all had these massive smiles coming off the ride.
That last one.
But I did feel a little bit sore after 1 hour of riding down the snow. So I was grateful to have some hot spring time, and the views from the hot spring are so beautiful. We soaked in the hot springs for about a few hours before going back to our hotel. Another incredible viewpoint that we stopped at was this one called Lake Pukaki viewing spot. It's beautiful at all times of the day, and we drove past it a couple of times, but I have to say the sunset was incredible from here. We were on our way to Billion Star Dining at Mount Cook Lakeside Retreat, which had a bit of a longer drive through the trees to the lodge. The lodge area is locally owned and is the reception as well as a restaurant. And the food here was some of the best food that we had in New Zealand. After that, we also did stargazing in their wine cellar, which was such an intimate and fun experience. I've also got another video on Billion Star Dining that you can check out here. It was such a fun weekend in New Zealand, but it had to come to an end.
Okay.
When we got to the airport, I was still in the mood for New Zealand food. So I tried these things that I can only really describe as a potato scone. If anyone knows what it is, please let me know. But these were pretty good. If you like this video, please smash like to support. And join me on my next adventure to the Carlisle Hotel in Brisbane.